Welcome back. My husband, 34, and I, female 26, met while I was trying to get my life together. He worked a hard labor job in construction, and I had dropped out of high school years prior and had gone back to school to get my credentials. We happened to meet when I was coming out of night school, and he was picking up his cousin. His cousin was taking a long time to out. He asked me for help finding him, and we started talking. He offered to drive me home since it was later and too dangerous to go to the bus stop. I was flattered and agreed. He kept doing that and we got to know each other, eventually getting into a relationship. He was always there for me, consistent and supportive throughout my studies. He even as far as to help me get into college and paying for my tuition fees. Shortly after my graduation from college, we got married and I got an internship. I gradually worked my way up to an executive personal assistant position where I was personally working under one of the top executives of the company that I work for. My husband was happy for me as well, but being apart for some time is very disappointing. We would make things work though. My boss started making advances at me during our business trips. Initially, it was harmless flirting when we were alone together, but he started making direct advances during our trips. He made his desires and intentions clear. I won't deny the fact that I enjoyed the attention, but his directness really surprised and scared me. We started going on more than just business trips. He would take me on romantic getaways, would give me luxurious gifts, and randomly put money into my account. We both had an understanding that we had partners that we cared for at home and that we were just living our fantasies. That's why we both worked hard to keep our affair a secret. My boss recently planned a trip to Mauritius for me. It was a small getaway to celebrate the success of a big project we were doing. This project put him in line for a promotion, which meant that if he got a promotion, I would also be getting a promotion. I lied to my husband and told him that I was going on a business trip and that if things worked out on this trip, I would get a promotion. He was happy for me, but he was also sad that I was leaving. Its trip went great, the views were great, and we had so much fun that I almost forgot about my home situation. At some point, I called my husband and made an excuse that the trip had to be extended for some reason. When I got home at the end of the trip, I found all my bags packed by the door with divorce papers on top of them. When I tried to open the door, I found that I couldn't unlock it. The locks were changed, and I also couldn't reach my husband on his phone. I waited at the front door for hours, hoping he would show up so that he could explain all this. I was getting impatient and angry. I eventually called a friend to pick me up to stay at her place for the night until I could figure out what was going on. I told her what happened and how confused I was by his actions, which resulted in her calling him, his friends, and his workplace in a rage. That night, he showed up at my friend's house, and they got into an argument about how she called his workplace and how he was treating me. Eventually, the fight died down, and I asked him why he was doing this to me. He didn't say anything. He just opened his phone and showed me pictures and videos of me and my boss being cozy at the beach and in the hotel lobby. I was still in shock and disbelief when he asked me how long the affair had been going on. I tried to make an excuse, but he repeated the question in a scary tone that he had never taken with me before. I was basically crying at that point, and my friend tried to defend me. When I told him that it's been 4 months, and he lost it, he was so angry he looked like he was on the verge of tears as he was scolding me. He asked me how I could break his trust and ruin our family like that, ruin our future like that. That broke my heart. I felt so guilty, and I was on my knees begging for forgiveness. He told me that he wanted a divorce, and he left. I really love my husband, and I want things to work out between us. I don't see a future with anyone else but him. What I did was just for thrills and to secure a promotion. How do I gain his trust back? How do I convince him not to divorce me? We've been through too much together to end things just like that. Edit. My boss is a married man, and he also knew that I was married. It wasn't workplace harassment, as I enjoyed the attention I got from him, and I found our relationship thrilling. There was no emotional attachment in our affair. My husband is the only man that I love and will ever love. I just got enthralled in the excitement. The pictures and videos of me and my boss were sent to my husband by a mutual friend who was honeymooning in Mauritius at the time we were there. I had no idea that they would also be there. I hope that answers your questions. Update 1. My husband was serious about going through with the divorce. He had no intention of fixing things even after I suggested we see a marriage counselor. I couldn't understand how he could be so readily willing to give up our lives and disregard my love for him just like that. Until my friend put things into perspective for me. She made me understand that he had always wanted to leave me, but he needed an excuse, and I gave him one. She encouraged me to fight tooth and nail for everything and make him pay for breaking my heart. And I intend to go all out. Edit. Shit, I got fired. My boss told me that my divorce is getting messy and he doesn't want to be implicated, especially since he's up for a promotion. It was done on the down low, and my boss gave me some compensation and let me go. I'm currently job hunting and fighting for alimony. Final update. It's been a long while since I last updated, but I got my share of the house and alimony from the divorce. So I'm doing good. My ex fought tooth and nail to keep our house, but the court was obviously fair. I also found a job quite recently. It's not as good as the first one, and the benefits are not that great. With that and the alimony running out in under a year, I feel like I'm living below my means. Thinking back, I don't think the way I went about things was wrong, though since I was the one who betrayed our marriage. Yet I was vindictive and petty, but marriage is a legal obligation. And my ex had an obligation towards me. That being said, I wish I had done things differently. Maybe we could have fixed things, and my life didn't turn out to be as messy and lonely as it is right now. Maybe, I don't know. Story 2. At Lone Point, we were this lovely, awesome couple. So in love, we couldn't be without each other. My husband started saying a few years ago that he really wanted to start having kids. I wasn't ready, but I finally felt enough pressure, and against my judgment, I agreed. So last August, we gave birth to our first child. She's a beautiful, funny girl, and we both love her more than anything. We decided I would take a year off work and be with our daughter. A few months in, I start to resent the decision. I miss my freedom. I don't like being a stay-at-home mom, and in general, I'm unhappy. One night I go out drinking, the second time in about 7 months, and I get hit on, and I love the attention. Guys are buying me drinks and flirting. Oh, and I honestly forgot my rings at home, but I didn't bother to tell them I was married. So I come home drunk, and we continue having a fight about something from earlier in the evening. I don't really remember, and we both go to sleep. The next day, I realize that I'm pretty close to cheating on my husband, if not physically, for sure emotionally. I tell him, but all he wants to talk about is our argument from the day before. And no, I came home wasty pants. So I practically scream it at him, "Hello, I'm saying I want to cheat on you," and he finally gets it. About a month goes by, nothing really changes, and I decide I need a break. I take our daughter on a month-long vacation across the ocean to my hometown. It's the first time our family gets to meet her, so I figure a month is a good long time. Here's where it turns scandalous. I see my ex walking down the street. He lives down the street from my grandma's house. He's the only other guy aside from my husband I've ever loved, but maybe summer love at 16 nostalgia puts everything in a good light. Back to the story. We meet up, and at this point, I'm really looking for a friend, and he's willing and able. There we are sitting on his couch. I'm crying because I feel like my life is a mess. He's consoling me, and we kiss. It turns to passion, and we make out. It feels wrong. Immediately, I wish it was my husband, holding me, hugging me. But he's 1,000 miles away, and I wasn't feeling the love at home anyway. The next day, I confess to him. I'm still on the fence about our marriage, and I knew I didn't want to be with that other guy. I just wanted to show my husband he would lose me. He's obviously upset. He says he can't look at me on Skype. He's angry and sends me a meme that says, "If you love somebody, you don't screw someone else." Here's where I turn scumbag. I go back to the guy's house. I guess I just wanted some affection. This time, we actually had sex, twice. Around this time, my husband tells me if I see him again, it's over. So I don't tell him. 2 or 3 weeks later, I come home and he's really trying. Things are perfect. It feels like we can make it work. He asks me, "Did you do anything else with him?" At first I lie, then I tell the truth. He feels betrayed all over again. I'm sincerely sorry, and I really regret everything. He says he wants to work it out, and I'm trying to be here giving 100%. But I feel like his verbal punching bag. Also for him, just being here and not leaving is him trying. I only told him the day before yesterday, so I know he needs more time. I guess the question is, what do I do now? You should let your husband divorce you. You acted incredibly childish and slept with someone because your husband was mad that you cheated on him with an ex. Not only that, but there's a child involved who deserves better than to see the father be a doormat to a cheating mother. I'm not saying you're a terrible person, but what you did was entirely wrong. And just from what you said here, it doesn't sound like your husband did anything to deserve the disloyalty that you gave him. Comments. There's a special place in hell for people like you. You rubbed it in his face that you made out with an ex. Then when he by your surprise gets upset, you go and screw the guy twice. Not only do I feel bad for your husband, but for your daughter as well. From what you wrote, you obviously resent her and the freedom she took from you, and you've destroyed your chances of having a unified family by being selfish because you decided to go hook up instead of talking it out with your husband like normal people do. You make your bed, you lie in it. If I were him, I'd be looking at the number of ways I could screw you over in the divorce. Whether or not I would actually go through with that, I don't know, but you definitely seem like you deserve what you get.